So we did a video a little while ago explaining why we wanted a camper and what camper we wanted and the reasons as to why. So today we've picked the van up for the first time. So we're going to do like what we've seen loads of other people do on YouTube. Not to the same extent, granted. But we are, this weekend, it's Friday afternoon now, we are going to go on a little bit of a road trip. So over the course of this weekend, we are going to visit and take you guys to the top 12 beaches in North Wales, starting from Talacre right down all through the Llyn Peninsula of North Wales and finish up just south of Barmouth on Sunday afternoon. Let's go. So on our road trip, we're going to split the 12 beaches down into 3 days. So day one, which is today, we're going to do Talacre, Prestatyn, Llanddulas, Benllech, and then we'll finish off at Newborough on Anglesey, and then we'll try and find a campsite or somewhere to stay on Anglesey for day one. So we've just arrived at beach one, which is Talacre, and just had our first experience of the stresses of having a van as a car. So the first barrier, 7 foot, no chance in how we're getting through there. The next one was 7'6", and edged up close. I think it might just about go through, but then obviously the solar panel on the back, which is raised off the thing of, there's no way that's going to go through, so we've had to just find somewhere else where we can park. And just a little bit of a reminder of the changes now that we're going to have to start taking into account. The first thing I'm going to do when I get a tape measure is just measure how high it is, so I'm not going through this debacle every time, because it's very stressful. I never knew about this place up until recently, but it is absolutely massive. We've got a whole range of wind turbines out there. Try and give you a wide angle. That's out to sea. Way over there. Little lighthouse, which I'll show you in a second. It just goes on for miles and miles and miles. There's the lighthouse. What number is this on the list of 12?
Number 1.
No. I know it's the first stop, but which one out of the top 12?
Could it be number 2?
I don't think it was. Well, if it was, I'm concerned. So, well, we've just come back from Newquay, and it's not quite a Newquay beach. Up towards the sand dunes, it's nice. So just up there towards the sand dunes, it's nice, the sand is. But sort of down here, it's a bit peculiar underfoot. So once we get back from here, we are going to Prestatyn, Llanddulas, Benllech, and then Newborough, which is just off Anglesey, and then we're going to stop for the night, try and get something to eat on the beach. But this is number 1, Talacre. It's not the best beach I've ever been on. To be fair, the point Lisa's made is just as right, as that I can imagine when the sea is in, the tide is in, it's a much nicer beach than when the tide is out.
Uh-oh.
Very nice. Can't believe how much the tide must have to come in. It must easily be from the dunes to the sea when it's at its most furthest point. Must be 1/4 of a mile easy.
Why? Why?
Just left Talacre Beach. convinced I would go back again, really. It was a bit, the sand was felt a bit like muddy underfoot or whatever. It felt a bit peculiar. I'm not convinced I'd go back unless I had a dog and a quad bike and footwear. But the next stop is Prestatyn Beach. Now, I've not been to Prestatyn Beach for probably 20 years. My nan and granddad used to have a static caravan on Iago Beach in Prestatyn, so the first time I've been back there since then. It's about 3.7 miles away from Talacre, so we'll let you know when we get there. This is absolutely beautiful. This is way nicer than what I remember as a kid. Now, we started the road trip a little bit later than what we were expecting, so we're not going to go onto the beach here, but just take some pictures and then get off to Llandulas as quick as we can. So this is the third beach. This is Llandulas, just off the A55, heading towards Anglesey. So it's not a nice beach by the conventional sense, but it's still better than Talacre. It is, honestly. Let me just give you a little look around. Really nice, sun setting in the background. So we've done 3 of the 12 so far now. So the plan is it's just coming up to 8 o'clock. We've got a 40-minute drive to get to Benllech at Anglesey. And then we'll hopefully, might just have to call it a day at Benllech and just do Newborough tomorrow. So now we've arrived at Benllech Beach, which is on the east coast of Anglesey. And as far as beaches go, this is on another planet compared to the other ones which we've been to so far. It is absolutely beautiful. So a nice car park and a nice area here with some toilets. Now the sand is really nice as well. The beach is probably about 1.5 miles long. So it stretches from there right over to the far side with these nice hills and things like that behind it to create a bit of protection from the wind. And also as well, one of the things that we really liked, especially as it was going dark, is you could just see where the ships have pulled in for the night, and you can see all the lights there. So that was really cool as well. So it's the 4th beach that we've made it onto today. So we were going to go to Newborough, which is just on the other side of the island. But we're not going to make it, so we're going to head off, get some food, and we're going to head up towards our first ever camper park up, which will be an experience. But I've got to say, Benllech, which is the beach which we're on now, is by far the nicest beach that we've seen so far. And when you compare this to Talacre, this is absolutely stunning. It is a top quality beach. I hope everyone, it's now 5 to 11. We're in the camper, we're in a park up somewhere, and I'm absolutely bricking it. I'll see you in the morning. I suppose the one thing that surprised me more than anything is when you park up and you pull up and it's pitch black and you can't see anything that's going on around you. All you can hear is the sea and the wind. But then when you wake up in the morning and you look out your window and you can see this view, it's absolutely phenomenal. And what's even more mad than anything is the fact that this beach, looking at it, doesn't feature in the top 12 beaches of North Wales. Compared to some of the ones which I have seen, it is an absolute belter. But one thing that I did learn was that wild camping probably isn't my favourite thing. I was absolutely terrified. Just on our way to Newborough now, which is our last beach on Newquay. But on the way down, I just wanted to call into a place called Beaumaris to show Lisa. So my old man used to bring us here loads as a kid, so I just wanted just to show around a nice little town. So as part of our trip to Beaumaris, we decided to go to Beaumaris Castle, affectionately known as the greatest castle never built. The build was started during King Edward I of England's reign, so that was to cement his conquest of Wales in 1282. So what he decided to do was he decided to refurbish a ring of castles in North Wales, and Beaumaris just happened to be the last to be started but was never finished. Work on the castle started in 1295, and most of what you can see in front of you today was built in just 5 years. The works on the castle cost £14,500. In today's money, that's £6.5 million. The original plans for the castle was to be concentric, a castle within a castle with 5 suites of sumptuous accommodation. The prosperous Welsh town of Llanbedrog and its residents were moved to Newborough in the west of Anglesey to make way for the castle and its town. And Beaumaris, the word, comes from the Norman French word for Beau Maris, meaning fair marsh. And the reason why it was called the greatest castle never built was because King Edward's war in Scotland meant that he had no money to continue the building. And finally, in 1987, along with Carmarthen, Conwy, Harlech, Beaumaris Castle was recognised as a World Heritage Site. Pit stop around Beaumaris done now, so we're off to our last beach at Anglesey, which is Newborough. Northern people will know the house in the middle of the M62. What about the house in between the Menai Straits? So this beach reminded me a little bit of Formby Beach because it's on a Forestry Commission site, or the Welsh equivalent, but also as well they've got red squirrels there, and this beach particularly is renowned for its wildlife. There's not many beaches where you can go and potentially see a red squirrel, a dolphin and a minke whale all in one day. So I think if you get lucky here in terms of wildlife, it's absolutely second to none. There's also part of the beach that you can walk across, but you have to make sure that you come back as part of the land gets locked in by the ocean. So you always need to make sure that you don't get caught out by the high tide. And just look here now, with the weather that we had, the clouds rolling down the mountains. I mean, even though it wasn't beach weather, the weather for the scenery was absolutely epic. So we've just got to the next beach. So this is, what's the name of this one? Morfa Nefyn Beach, and just look at this. This is supposedly home to one of the best walk-up beach bars in the world, so let's go and have a look. The website which gave us the postcode for the beach unfortunately has given us the wrong postcode, so this hasn't got the bar on. Absolute heartbreak. I couldn't believe these houses that are literally right on the seafront. So when the tides come in, there is no way that you can get to them. There was no way I was going to get this close to one of the best walk-up beach bars in the world and not make my way to it. So with a cheese and onion pasty in hand, off we go down past the golf club to try and find out where the Talacre Inn is. After a steady 5-minute walk down from the golf club, here she is on the left hand side, the Talacre Inn, one of the world's greatest walk-up beach bars. It did feel a bit weird walking all that way and then all of a sudden seeing just a couple of buildings and then this appearing from nowhere. Now, what turned out to be one of the smallest beaches ended up being one of my absolute favourite beaches that we visited throughout the whole time that we were there. So this was Porth, Iago. Now, I'm going to explain a little bit later on as to why it is such a weird but brilliant place. It's not an ideal beach for people that have got really small children, because in order to get down to it, you need to sort of climb down a cliff. So at the top of the cliff, this is seagulls that were flying around, and that's me on the waterfront of the beach there. So once again, as you can see, we absolutely didn't have beach weather, but if anything, that just made this place even more spectacular. It was blowing an absolute hurricane, it was raining, and some of the people that were camping at the top of the cliff are some of the most dedicated campers that I've ever seen. Lisa stayed at the top of the hill and she filmed me down at the bottom. Given her condition and gravity, being an unforgiving mistress, getting down wouldn't be a problem, but maybe trying to get her back up may be a bit of a problem. The beach in these weather conditions with the mist and the rain reminded me of the sort of place where Voldemort would hide a Horcrux. Now, the beach is essentially a beach in between two sets of cliffs that stick out into the water. Now, we spent a little bit of time walking down towards the end of one of the cliffs so we could try and get a sort of a 180-degree view of it. And like I say, once again, the views with the weather as it is made it even more spectacular. We're just leaving now Porth, Iago, and I can honestly say it is one of the most mental things. Look, the bike, look how much struggling the toilet tent is. Some of the most dedicated campers that I have ever seen in my life. But it's not just the stuff that we've shown you already. There's a few more things that I want to just show you as we go. You bear with me because it's definitely worth it. This kid has got cojones. But if you think about where we've just been, so just there is the sea, but the wind is that bad and the mist and the rain is that bad, you can't see the sea that's 20 yards that way. You've got people in little two-man tents, a little quencher two-man tent just up here. Some brave campers, but so it's weird already, but weird in a good way. I can't imagine there being a quiet time down here, which is a good thing. Little tent. So, oh shit. Awkward. So I'm going to put the postcode for this place down below, because what I want you to all do is to come and have a look at it. So you have to pay £5 parking for the day. You can stay overnight for 20 quid if you want to. But all of it is weird. So to get to it, you have to drive literally through the middle of a working farm. And just in the middle of this working farm, there is a pay and display machine with a, you have to put your number plate in and all that sort of stuff, and it just looks so out of place. But imagine a field in the middle of nowhere
a stone's throw from a cliff, right above the sea. There's toilets, which look nice. There's a burger van for an hot dog. The hot dog was nice. But we're just coming into the farm now. So this is us on the way out. So bear in mind, I've seen this already, and for me, I still think it's absolutely mental. But let's... Oh, Jesus Christ. But just have a look at what you have to drive through to get to this campsite and to get to this beach. Look at this on the left. Wind your window down. In the middle of a working farm, in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of Wales. It's absolutely mental. So this is morning 2, day 3. We've got 4 beaches left to go. That is, what are they? 5. Oh Christ, we've got 5 left to go. So it's about 10 o'clock now. So we've got a busy day ahead really. We're a couple of beaches behind where we were planning on being today, but just surprised how long stuff takes really to get done. But we'll keep going and we'll get them all done today. We're on a right rinky-dink site. I can't pronounce the name of it, so I'm not going to try, but it was £20 for the night. So it was literally just park, electric hookup. We'll have a look at this. There's Tango Unchained. Just one more thing I want to show you. So I've never done these sorts of sites before, but just take a look at this. It told us it had no shower and a toilet, but it does actually have a toilet, which is a hole in the ground that's got a toilet cemented into it with a handle to lift it up. See, I'm used to camping on toilets that get cleaned 3, 4, 5 times a day, so this has certainly been an eye-opener and an experience. Well, for 20 quid a night, I don't really think you can moan about it too much at all. Still thinking about that mad Porth Iago yesterday. That site is absolute, it's just the most obscene place I've ever seen before in my life. This is us now in Aberdaron. So it looks like a nice little seaside town, so we're going to have a look at that and get something to eat. We ended up having some really nice breakfast in this little rinky-dink cafe. Low ceilings and all that. I nearly banged my head about 14 times, but the food was great. Really, really nice surroundings. I don't know about you, but I don't think there's a better sound than the sound of waves crashing against the beach. I think it's absolutely fantastic. To be honest, I felt a little bit sad for Aberdaron. It was because we were running so far behind and we'd left ourselves so much to do on the Sunday. We probably didn't get enough time, or as much time as we would have liked, to have spent some time on the beach and have a little walk across, because the bay is absolutely huge. And it looks like the weather's trying to do us a favour compared to the previous day. Hopefully there'll be a sign of things to come for the rest of the day. I love beaches like this, which have got rocks and all that sort of stuff either side of the bay. I mean, the rocks on this side are absolutely fantastic. And this is just a little clip of us walking through Aberdaron village. It's actually a really, really, really nice little town. It's somewhere that I would definitely consider going back to. And on the drive to Llanbedrog, we managed to get some amazing pictures of this bay, which is called Howl's Mouth. So this is Llanbedrog Beach. So this was on our way right down past the Llyn Peninsula. And this beach is synonymous for these multicoloured sheds at the top of the beach, which always remind me of places like Margate or places on the south coast. And one thing which consistently amazes me is some of the most unbelievable epic scenery, all which can be seen from the front of the beach. The mountains literally go for miles and miles and miles. And again, even on this beach, you've got houses and properties that are literally right at the point where the tide must stop. It's absolutely amazing. We'll pop down the postcode for where we parked. So we parked on a National Trust building, and one of the most amazing things that we've seen was this outdoor theatre, reminding me very much of the Minack in Cornwall. So this beach is the most southerly beach that we're going to go to. We were going to go to a different beach first, but we thought we'd set off and come down as far away as possible as we can from home, and then what we can do then is to start making our way back. So this beach is over the other side of the bay from Barmouth, which is our next beach. It's a bit of an interesting drive to get to, but it's lovely. You can see all the sand behind me and all the way back up there. You've got to get over a bit of soft rocks and stuff like that first to get to the sea, but the sea looks nice, the sea looks clean, the beach looks nice. And just by the beach at Fairbourne as well, there's like a massive train track. The train's tiny, steam train, but it takes on a big circle, a roundabout, so I'm going to try and see if I can talk her into letting me go on it. So just over there is where Barmouth must be, because like I said, this is just at the other side of the peninsula than Barmouth. So beach number 10 this is, so we've got 2 more left to go and then it's ready for home. From the very second you arrive, it's plain to see why so many people rate Barmouth as the best beach in the whole of Wales. We were fortunate to catch it whilst the tide was out, and the distance from the road to the sea is absolutely massive. It almost feels like there's 2 beaches. You have the main touristy sandy beach, and just a little bit further round a harbour where there's ships and things like that. This is absolutely, definitely a beach for families. Loads of stuff to do, massive beach, but also you can do things like crabbing, boat rides and things like that. With lots of things to see and lots of things to do, Barmouth really is an absolutely world-class beach. And to leave Harlech till last was purely a decision based on going as far away as we could from home and then making sure that we were always on our way back. But to say that we saved the best beach till last is an absolute understatement. It is one of the most beautiful places that I've ever seen before in my life. And we haven't even left the car park yet, and I just cannot believe how incredible the views are. The sun was out, the weather was warm, and almost instantly both me and Lisa agreed that this was definitely our favourite beach that we'd been to. So a brisk 5-minute walk from the car park to the beach takes you down the path, takes you over some sand dunes, and then brings you out onto the beach. But before you get there, like I said before, the views that you get are absolutely stunning. Harlech Beach, without doubt, was the only van's #1 beach of the top 12 beaches in North Wales. And there aren't any words that I could say which could do this beach justice. So I'm going to just stop talking and just leave you for 1 minute with images and video clips of Harlech Beach. It is incredible. cancels on the way home now, so we have visited the top 12 beaches in North Wales as per the article, which we'll put a link down for in the video. So my personal, my top three, I'll give you my top three. I'm not going to say Barmouth because everyone will say Barmouth. So my top three were Benllech, Newborough and Harlech. I thought they were just amazing. My favourite overall was Harlech. I thought in terms of like the scenery on a beach, I've never seen anything like that before. It was absolutely incredible. So that was our first weekend away in our van. So I want, in terms of things that I've learnt about van life, wild camping is shit scary. I've also learnt that I need to know how high my camper is. And the final thing that I think, what I'm going to take away from this weekend more than anything, I never thought I'd ever hear myself say it, is just what an absolutely beautiful, beautiful, beautiful place Wales is. It is absolutely gorgeous, and I recommend, if ever you get a chance to go to any of those three beaches that I've just mentioned there, you must absolutely do it. But to throw in a curveball, the one beach that I want to return to more than any of the others is 100% Porth, Iago. I'm gonna, as soon as I get a chance, I want to go and stay overnight or have a night or a couple of nights there and just see what.
Turn left after 300 yards, then take the next right turn immediately.
And just see what it's all about, because it was such a weird place, but somewhere I'd definitely like to go again. Like, we've seen hundreds of people. Fucking radio.
How did that happen?